YouTube, what is up? So, today we're going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do for some time. Just haven't really had the time to do it. Um, this is going to be the first official Throwback Thursday video. So, from here on out, maybe not every Thursday, but when I get items that I can consider either throwback or retro type of thing, older lines from either uh, Hasbro Marvel Legends or the Toybiz. And when I say Hasbro, I mean like the first couple of lines, whether it was like the Annihilus wave, for example, yeah, and so on. But today we're going to be looking at some Toybiz figures and the Onslaught wave. So let's just jump right into this. I just don't know where to start with first. So, relating to that wave are some figures in the background, and we're just going to kind of, you know, put these guys together with their respective groups or characters that relate to them. So, here we got Pyro. So, we're going to go ahead and open up Pyro first. Now, I can honestly see us getting a Hasbro Pyro figure at some point. I can't say when that's going to be, but this is one of those lower class, maybe even D-list villains. Um, but he got some run in the cartoon, even in a couple of the X-Men videos where he was with the X-Men and then kind of, you know, went and started hanging out with Magneto and the Brotherhood or whatever. I don't know if they're necessarily called the Brotherhood, but yeah, in the movies, I'm saying. So let's crack this open. I am not going to put you guys through the package opening, but as you can see, this thing has not been opened. Um, Here's the back and the read up there. So this has never been opened. And let's go ahead and crack this thing open off camera and we'll bring it right back. All right, so here we have the Onslaught series Pyro out of package. And a couple things before we actually get into the figure and talk about a couple things there. In package, it came with this little card here. I think this might be a game of some sort. It's a versus system from Upper Deck. So I think this was like a card piece to a game, and it did have this little backdrop here. Set him down for a second, and it came with the stand for this backdrop, or maybe it was for the card. I'm not really sure, but either way, you can stick either one in there. But we're gonna stick with this here for now, and stand him up there without falling over, please. Okay, and it did have the lower torso for the Onslaught, if you can see that there, and a back piece for Onslaught as well. And it has some articulation here, and it came with a comic book. And as we all recall, they have uh, their own respective comic books. Here it shows him versus Daredevil. This is a Daredevil cover. And for me, I mean, I don't relate him to Daredevil as much as I do with the X-Men. So, yeah, there's no telling why that's there, but okay. Maybe just because he was on the cover. Some propaganda from, what is this? Subscribe and save on comics, I guess. Sure, that's no longer usable. And one thing that I did like is how it shows you this sheet of how to put it together. Now, I'm sure if you use common sense, you'll be able to figure this out, right? But I like it how it's just, a flat sheet of paper. I don't know if I have anything I can give you an example of right off the bat on the table. Maybe later we'll go over that. But some of the Hasbro figures in the beginning did have an instruction sheet. However, they were always folded up. But just look how clean that looks and how, pleasing to the eye that is. And it's just maybe something you might want to keep. But, you know, again, that's up to you. So here's Pyro. And one thing that I did like about some of these older figures is how they would actually paint the pegs. You know, these older Toybiz figures, sorry if I said that wrong. They painted the pegs where we don't get that on majority of our Hasbro figs. And I can see why. Maybe the paint might look different regardless if they painted it blue. Let's say they painted that red peg uh, blue on the Spider-Man, then maybe it just might throw that, the red underneath might throw that peg off. Or maybe they could just give us uh, blue pegs that match. I don't know. But as you can see here, like they painted this, now it looks like this paint ran over a little bit. And that would just give us something else to complain about. So yeah, this is a pretty good looking figure. The only thing I do not like about this is that the hair kind of matches the mask. Like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, so there's Pyro. Let's look at his power grid. Intelligence to strength to speed to durability to energy projections about 3.5. Fighting skills 3.5. So this guy, like I said, pretty much a D-lister. But there you go. There's Pyro. Now, I did bring some of the other Brotherhood mutants out. And if you wanted to, Sabretooth looks like he wants to fall. Have him hanging out with some of your newer figures. And I'm going to be doing these videos just to give you guys an idea of what, maybe you're on the fence and you're like, oh, I don't know how that would look on my shelf. So we're going to go ahead and have some of these guys post up together. Actually, let's back this up. And we're not trying to make a crazy long video because we are going to go over all 6 of these figures in this wave. But we'll kind of speed through some of the things. But yeah, I mean, as you can see on camera, not a bad look. And we know that some of the features from this figure are going to be way different from the articulation in the hands, the feet. But as you can see on camera and on shelf, this is not going to be a bad look. And like I said, they may give us one further down the line. I don't see it happening anytime soon. I could be wrong. We never know. But if you run into this figure, you like X-Men villains, this is not a bad one to have. So, moving on. All right, so here we have Lady Deathstrike. Not a good-looking figure. I mean, not terrible, just not pleasing to the eye. And this is one that I can see Hasbro absolutely giving us. And I think that would make a lot of people happy. She did not come with that game card like Pyro did. She did come with this comic here. Shows her and Wolverine. Might have to look through that comic, but it looks pretty cool. And the backdrop, you can see Spyro in the background, which is kind of cool. Um, I don't know if I even recall that when I had her some time ago. I don't remember even seeing this. I think maybe I just tossed it in the trash, but look at that artwork. Not bad. And these were probably going for around anywhere $12 to $15 when they came out. $9.99, $14.99, somewhere in between there. So here's Lady Deathstrike's read up if you guys really want to take a look at that. Let's see. Intelligence is a 3. Strength a 4.5. Actually, that's like a 3.5 on the intelligence. Strength of 4.5. Speed 3.5. Durability 3.5. No energy projection, but fighting skills, it's about a 6.5. Not bad. So she can fight her tail off, huh? So we did bring out Wolverine and a member of the Reavers here. So if you have her, you can shove her with your Reaver figure. What is that? Skullbuster. I was gonna call him Bonehead or Bone Crusher or something. So not bad. And I don't know if you guys checked out any of my other videos already. I'm working on a body for the Reese head that came with the Skullbuster. So, I mean, other than it not looking good, it's an okay figure. I mean, just look at the head sculpt. It's just kind of whatever. The way the hair is. Like, I could see where they were going with this, but it's, again, for its time, it was okay. I felt this was like, oh my god, that looks exactly like Lady Deathstrike we've seen in the cartoons for the X-Men 90s cartoons. So, all right, who are we going to talk about next? All right, let's talk about the least interesting figure in here, which is going to be this Loki. So let's go ahead and move all this out the way and crack this Loki open. All right, so here's Loki out of the package. This guy's been sitting in package for, let's see, the exact date these came out. 2006, here we are, 2019. It's about 13 years, give or take. And I got him kind of leaning because when I pulled him out of package, the bendy ties were so tight on his legs that they're kind of bowed. So they were like squeezed, and I guess we can use what? Oh my god. Yeah. So 13 years. Things like this have happened. So just be a little careful, be mindful. These things are toys meant to be played with, but over time, glue gives out and things like this happen. So this is the first figure that I actually had any issues with so far. I did have a little issue with the which figure was that? Lady Deathstrike and her app crunch. It was really stiff. Once I cracked it, it was okay. This guy, on the other hand, has a ton of issues. However, I said that this was probably my least favorite out of the wave. And with all these issues that I didn't even know about, it's not terrible though. It's not terrible at all. It's not a bad looking figure. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Minus all the, things that are going on with as you can see with this stuff falling off. It's actually a good looking figure. Um, let's see if we can get him to lean again some type of way, because we're probably gonna have to hot water, cold water, trick the legs to get back into form or something. So here's Loki's read up. We're not gonna go over every single thing that he can do. 0 fighting skills. No wonder why he gets his ass whipped all the time. Energy projection. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I can see that. Um, Durability. So he can't fight, but he's durable, meaning he can take a punch or two. But that's about it. But overall, not a terrible figure. I didn't even bring anything out to like put next to him. Let's go ahead and whip out some figs. He did come with the right hand. I want to. All right, so hopefully, without any further interruptions, we can breeze through the rest of this video. I didn't show you guys this comic book that it came with. The artwork on the front looks really good, but the pages are really old school looking. Strange issue. If this was in fact a issue on its own, which I'm not sure. I'm trying to get to something where I can show you the contents of this book, but you're not going to be picking it up for the comic book. But there's the artwork that's actually in the comic. So that was a little trippy. Just happened to pop that open, excuse me. So here we have King Thor with Loki. And like I said, this is just to give you guys an idea of how these things will look together, you know, on your shelf. So let's go ahead and slide him over. Then we got Valkyrie on a horse here. That is a horse from Lord of the Rings. Let's go with Lady Thor, Jane Foster. Again, just throwing it out there. And Ares. Okay. And Ares. And that is from the Thor Ragnarok wave. That is not the Build-A-Figure. If you guys know that Bath Build-A-Figure has different colors and this skull here is a little different. Just pointing that out, FYI. And then in the back there, you got Tundra and Malekith. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, so here we have possibly my favorite out of the group. I mean, as far as characters are concerned, this would be my favorite. As far as the figure itself, I'm not quite sure, but we will find out. This is Blackheart. Now, I will pound the table until I'm black and blue. Hasbro really should give us a Ghost Rider wave. Now, I know a lot of these waves, you know, have something to do with, you know, what's going on and what's popular. But could you imagine a Ghost Rider wave with a Ghost Rider, Blackheart, Vengeance, a Cosmic Ghost Rider, maybe even a Mephisto Build-A-Figure? You can probably even throw in the new Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. Like, I mean, that would be like just so awesome. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of standing here drooling, just even talking about, you know, the potential and where they can go from here. This is Blackheart, son of Mephisto, bad guy, of course. There is right here, Blackheart, son of Mephisto, right? Um, There's this power grid, and you can see pretty much everything is off the chart besides his fighting skills. He's not. Well, or can we even see that? Do we even? There we go. How's that? All right. So, no fighting skills. All right. Let's crack this open. Off camera, of course. All right. So, getting back into it. We got him out of the box. Just 1 second, please, if you don't mind. Kind of flip through the book that it came with. On the cover, you don't necessarily see the covers of these comics that they give us with these figures. Now, this comic actually looks awesome. This comic cover, I should say. Um, but some of the artwork in there is actually pretty good. Like you got Punisher, Wolverine versus Blackheart, and then check out this Ghost Rider. But again, we're not going to buy this figure for the comic book. And here we have Blackheart. And yeah, this is impressive. This is a really impressive figure, from the articulation on the feet. And I think this would still hold its look on your shelf. I mean, if we don't have any other Blackhearts that we can put up with our, yeah, everything's going to hell. But this is the back cover. He's got these little demons on there. But yeah, let's get this out the way. He did come with the left leg for the Onslaught. There that goes. Move that to the side. We're going to take a look at that later. But man, this guy is just an amazing figure. There we got a couple of Ghost Riders in the background. Rhino Wave and the Rider series. That head on the Rider series, I'll just want to point that out. Why am I having a hard time getting this guy to stand? Shouldn't have any issues. But it's just a real top heavy figure. So I'm sure we can get it to go at some point. But I'm not trying to sit here and have you guys watch me struggle with this guy. So the tail, yeah, bendy wire. And still works, I guess. It's still will give you that bend. So yeah, this guy is actually, man, really cool. And for some reason I cannot get him to stand. I'm just afraid that it's just gonna fall right back over. All right, let's do something for this guy to stand up for the time being. So there he is. Had to put him on a stand for you. Blackheart. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good look. Like I was saying, that's not the right head. This is the actual head for that. This is the Rider Series head. I don't want to give you guys a wrong impression on anything, just because I like to switch out my heads on my figures. And this Rider Series Ghost Rider actually has the better looking head, but I kind of changed his look just because I thought that looked cool on the bike. But this is his actual head, and that Red Skull there, that one came with Magic, the Walgreens exclusive Magic. Yeah, so there you go. But if I had to choose a way to shelf my Ghost Rider, going to be with the Rider Series head. And will look something like that. So overall, not a bad look on the Blackheart. Still will look good with your Hasbro figures. And yeah, I still believe that this is going to be my favorite figure of the wave. All right, let's keep it moving. So there's the Abomination. Toybiz Abomination. Recently got a, well, I shouldn't even say recently. It's been a while. We got the Bath from Hasbro. And here's a quick look at the back of the box on his power grid. And there's his read up. Let's go ahead and crack this guy open. So there's Abomination, not a package. And I gotta say, man, this thing is pretty massive, heavy, impressive. There's a few things that I don't care about on this figure, or that I can't say I don't care about, because I do care about it. And that's because it kind of bugs me. But as you can see, like, there's gonna be areas where there's, miss some of the shading, and it just kind of gives it a funky look here. But man, this guy is pretty big. It's nice too. Like, I mean, as you can see, preferably to the eye, I mean, this one looks nicer, but this one's still good. A lot of detail in the face on both of these guys. And I was kind of thinking that the Toybiz was a little bigger, but they're actually right around the same height. So for those of you who didn't get the Hasbro Abomination, this Toybiz one is not terrible. I don't have a Hulk right now to bring out, but I did bring out the leader, and that is a Toybiz leader from the 2-pack, and that thing is just terrible. I would love to see Hasbro give us another leader, because this thing, I can't even stand him up. Like, his legs are bowed. Let me get him off. He's actually tearing here. So if I try to get him in any other, moves, or try to show you guys articulation on him, that thing is just gonna rip. And this is a good looking figure. However, the legs are bowed, and it just has, wow, I got him to stand. So many issues, and it's not a bad looking figure, but we need a new one. So hopefully we can get a leader somewhere down the line. And there is Abomination. So moving on to the last figure, which is going to be the Green Goblin. Let's go ahead and back this up and move this. I think no, we didn't. Oh my God, these ties. We didn't even talk about the left hand. Yep. Left hand that it came with, nor the comic book that it came with. And we're not gonna go too much into the comic book. I'll just show you that cover art on the back panel, which is kind of a cool look. It actually looks pretty good. And there's the cover art of that comic book that he comes with. And finally, we have the Green Goblin. And there's his power grid, Norman Osborn, and his read up. All right, let's crack this guy open. All right, so here we have the Green Goblin out of box. And one thing I failed to mention was there are variations of some of these figures where the Abomination has acid burns to his face, and the Green Goblin has a Norman Osborn head. So, oh, and Loki as well. There's a version of him with shorter horns. So I do not have those figures, unfortunately, so we can't really go over them. And I can show you the differences. Now, I know I said that the Blackheart was my favorite figure out of this wave. However, this figure is actually amazing. And I don't know if it's because it looks more like the version that we've seen in the Spider-Man cartoons, the animated series. But as far as articulation and look-wise, man, this thing is actually pretty awesome. The bomb that he has in his hand is not removable. I did have some issues with the glider. The glider comes in 4 pieces. However, I'm afraid that if I try to snap them in correctly, that it's gonna snap. So I don't know if you can see there where it's not in all the way. I'm just kind of afraid of snapping that. So let's go ahead and take him off the glider. And I'll show you some of the things that I'm talking about with this figure. I mean, we do have an ab crunch, waist, and upper thigh, double jointed knees. The ankles, the boots do have articulation on the toes. These hands are really soft. You know what? I'm looking at the figure and I'm geeking out over it. I don't even know if I really showed you guys all that on camera. My apologies. But yeah, man, this figure is awesome, and in fact, this may end up replacing my Hasbro Green Goblin on the shelf. I don't know how he's gonna look with some of the other villains, but man, this guy is amazing. Thought he was gonna fall over. And speaking of amazing, did I say he came with the left leg? Not sure. Anyway, I know this video is running long. We're just gonna snap this guy together, the Build-A-Figure. Let's go ahead and do a little side by side. Him and Spider-Man. And here's the other Green Goblin. And one thing just right off the bat, man, like when you compare these two figures, and I'll just talk about, and I'm not saying one company did things better. Times have changed, and costs have gone up, inflation and all that other goodness. And I mean, if you compare this glider, and like I said, this one came in 4 pieces, to this thing, I mean, this is a joke. However, it does its job. It's okay. You know what I mean? They are toys at the end of the day. But compare that to that glider. Let me move this camera down a little. Like this kind of feels like, a step back. But, they're their own thing. So we'll just enjoy them for what they are. But, looking at this guy, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, for some strange reason, I prefer that look. That's me. This in itself is a really good figure. But man, this guy, I just can't say enough about this look. I really dig it, and a lot more than what I thought I would. So, all right, let's get that out the way. And let's bring over the bath. So it's pretty simple to put together. Now, once you get some of these things on, just keep in mind, these figures, they tend to, once you snap it in, there's almost no way of getting some of these things out. And that piece will not come out unless you can slide something in there and kind of wedge it a little and pull it down. Other than that, that is not going to come out. Let's see. Sorry for the hold up. Left arm. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to do this off camera. I can feel it already. Yep, well, let's do this off camera. All right, so we did get Onslaught all put together. And this thing is pretty awesome. And I mean, he can actually get a little taller than what you see. The legs will extend a little bit more. However, at that point, it might have a little balancing issues. This figure is like so tight that I'm gonna have to take a hair dryer to the to this joint here and the arms as well. I can't get them to move at all. Again, this is a pretty old figure, and there's a lot of issues that you might want to keep in mind when purchasing some of these older figures. And here we got the newer Onslaught. Well, this guy doesn't. Okay, there we go. Stay still. So just keep in mind that this came out a few years ago, and it came with a Red Skull head and not this Magneto head. This Magneto head comes with the Kitty Pryde. Can't recall what wave that was. Yeah, I don't want to give you guys bad information. I'm sure you guys can look that up. But that came after this figure was already released, and they gave us a Magneto Onslaught head with the Kitty Pryde in the Warlock wave. No, Juggernaut wave. One of those two waves. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. I know I did a lot of fumbling with the figures and words and stuff, but it'll all get better soon. Please like, and as always, take care.